All right, let's jump over to our defense against their offense. Obviously, Dak Prescott, 90.2. This is your Tuesday player, and I know you guys will probably disagree with it. I think Dak's playing really good football. I think I've said that since I've started doing this podcast, and no one, the chat, nor you guys have ever agreed with me, so I'm probably wrong here. But a 90.2, he's off to a fast start according to PFF. So you just got to shut down that passing game. Now, in the backfield here, you've got Javonte Williams, a 72.9. On his career, 61, 63, 64, 75. So I expect him to cool off a little bit as the season goes along, I would imagine. So I'm not overly concerned about their running game. It's their passing game that I think can get hot. However, with CD Lamb out, it's going to take another step back. So, again, the players you're looking to stop is going to be George Pickens. His PFF grade's a 71.5. Obviously, they got him listed at 6'3", 200, a big body receiver there, can go up and make those contested catches. You've got Kevontae Turpin in the slot, a 73.5. He's gotten better every year he's been in the league, so this could be a breakout year for him. Undersized slot receiver at 5'9", 153 out of TCU. But definitely another player you want to keep an eye on. So for me, it's all about stopping the passing game. I would focus more on conceptually, what do they like to do in terms of route combinations rather than, hey, let's make sure we double this guy or a bracket cover here. Let's make sure we're putting ourselves in a position that, hey, when they come out in dubs, right? When they come out in dubs, whether it's a nasty split or not, they like to hammer a cab concept or whatever it may be, a digs concept. Let's make sure we're calling a defense that's going to bend to that side and take away that concept. So Dak Prescott has to go to the uncomfortable side of maybe throwing to Tolbert or even Ferguson, who got a lot of targets last game. I know people are thinking he's going to have a breakout game. He hasn't been great this year, but the thing to mention is the targets last week. You know what I mean, Jacob? Like he's a guy that it seems like Dak Prescott, with all the targets, he seems to feel comfortable going to Jake Ferguson when CD's not out on the field.
Yeah, that's just what Ron was talking about here, and I agree as far as him not necessarily being a dominant player, not a blue chip, anything like that, Tuesday player, whatever you want to call him, but he's getting a lot of targets. So if we can take that away, obviously that's going to be big. Joe went on to say, I know we're worried about Ferguson at tight end, but do they have to chip him in the line? Ain't enough, and it won't be enough. So, I mean, yeah, Coach says Ferguson's slow. But, I mean, I really do think we got the backers that can run with them. You know what I mean? And even if we are worried about him and that safety room, obviously, I would see that they don't let him get down the seams. And if we can bottle that one guy up, then it definitely lets our defense kind of attack a little more. I just want us to get back to – I saw a few different comments in the chat where they're saying, I didn't see us swarming like we were in the first 2 weeks, where it's like at any given play you could pause and you would just see the head count was insane.
And I'll tell you why you didn't see that. That's called man coverage.
Man coverage.
I was just going to say, for the love of God, please back off the man coverage down in Jerry World, because if we run as many cover one man looks as we did against Cleveland, we're going to get torched again.
Yeah, and our EPA per drop back in terms of pass defense is still solid, right? We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sixth in the league at a minus 0.09. But notice, guys, cover one man is up to 20% of the defensive snaps now. You want to keep that around 15%, in my opinion. So, like Tim said, back off that. That's why you don't have as many guys swarming to the ball there last week as you have in the past.
I'm not saying we don't play any man. I'm just saying you get very selective with your man looks. And we've had success under Hafley with mixing in those man looks in the past. But if we lean on it like we did in Cleveland, man, it's gonna bite us.
And it bit you in the rear end in the fourth quarter when it mattered.
Sure did. Yep.
Now, Emilio, notice this, dude. Let's see. And I haven't double-checked this before the show. We're running 14% cover 6 right now, 35% cover 3. That 14% cover 6 and 20% cover 1 man, right? Those are the two numbers we want to key in on. Cover 1 man, 20%. Last year, we ran cover 1 man 16%, right? So 4% less on average. Now, when you look at the cover 6 last year, we ran at 12%. This year, we're at 14%. So it's pretty on par, right? What are we doing different here when you really look at this? Cover 3, 35, cover 2, 20, if that's right. So we're playing way more cover 2 zone, it looks like. Or we played way more cover 2. No, not really, right?
No, we're about the same all the way across the board. Honestly, I think the biggest thing is he's leaning on cover 1 man a little bit more.
It's kind of strange. Do you think so? It's kind of strange.
Yeah, because I have more faith in our guys if we're one-on-one and we're bringing the house. Like, look at the Vikings up top. They're at 4% cover 0, man. You're bringing the house. Everyone's manned up. Cover 1 man, they're at 6. Cover 2 man, they're at 3. Altogether, they're only at 13% man coverage. We're at 21% man. So you're asking your guys to do a little bit more. I'd rather lean on everybody's eyes forward and, rally to the ball than, all right, 3rd and 7, or maybe we want to bring some heat, or, 3rd and 14, you can still play cover 4, keep everything in front of you, get it done, blitz them on first down, something like that. But yeah, Hafley just maybe got a little bit, too deep into the cover 1 man, and that's just because he has faith in his guys, and I appreciate that. But maybe we just need to take a step back. Hey, where are we down in distance? All that stuff.
I'd like to see some more of this if we could.
Yes, sir.
Haven't seen much of this in a few weeks.
Yeah. They definitely tapered off last week. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, man. It really didn't, because I felt like the only way Cleveland was going to stay in that game is if they got the running game going. And then lo and behold, even playing a lot of cover 1 man, you felt, well, we're containing their run pretty good, right? The defense played good. I don't want y'all to take this the wrong way. However, that one explosive play that got loose where Edgerrin Cooper got bear hugged from behind, blocked in the back and held on the same play. They didn't throw the flag. That was cover 1 man, and that was an explosive for whatever it was, 34 yards to set up the first points of the game with that field goal for the Cleveland Browns. So, yeah. Let's see. Deadfish says Green Bay has the number 1 scoring defense, averaging 14.7 points a game, probably under 7 points a game for the first 55 minutes. That's a great observation there, Deadfish. Great observation. Just got to clean it up there toward the end for sure. There was something else we're going to hit on here. There was something in the chat I have marked. Where's it at? Sixish said, I think you marked this, Jacob. Thank you so much, buddy. Who will play for Bullard? Jacob, you're the big Bullard guy, man. Tell me, let's assume Bullard's out. Who are you putting in the slot? How's your DBs going to look like? Give me your nickel 4-2-5 cornerbacks on the field. How would you play?
I would probably lean with wanting Hobbs to slide in there. Hobbs or Nixon, and then get Carrington in here with more snaps, and whoever else isn't playing in the slot, throw him on the outside. I like the way that Hobbs plays ball. The last game was a little suspect. I saw I don't want to say he was pulling up on certain plays and maybe just looked a little lost in the wash sometimes, but I like his sort of physicality that he plays with, aggressivity, if you will.
Built to ass.
Yeah, I kind of like what Coach is saying here, CV and Nixon on the perimeter, and then put Hobbs in there. And that's so cool, coming in hot, Melton at the slot. Oh, boy.
Whoa. Hold on there. Hold on.
So I love what you said about Carrington Valentine. Many people don't know this, guys. He is grading out a 77.4. He's had 131 snaps, right? He's the 3rd highest graded defender on this football team. He's the 11th highest graded corner in the league. Keyshawn Nixon is 6th in the league at a 78.4. So
But it's more realistic to move Keyshawn to a slot role than it is, I think, to put Bo in the slot at this point. That's just my take on it. I'd rather have Bo on the boundary.
See, the way I would play this is, let's assume Bullard's out. I'm putting Hobbs in the slot, keep Keyshawn out there where he's comfortable. That's where he's played his best football since last year, trickling right into this year. I completely agree with you, Jacob. And like you said, now throw Carrington Valentine out there. This is probably going to be a hot take too. My opinion, if Javon Bullard wasn't a 2nd-round pick, he would not be starting. If he was a 5th-round pick, he would not be starting on this defense. That's my personal opinion. I think you would have Hobbs in the slot. You'd have Carrington on the boundary. And then whenever you go to your base set, those rare, however many it is, 15, 20% of the defensive snaps, I think you pull Carrington off the field and put Hobbs out there just because you're paying him that money. I know that's not going to be a popular opinion, but I feel very, very, very confident in how I feel about that I think the best starting defense would be Hobbs in the slot, Carrington on the outside, and Bullard being your number 1 option off the bench to come in at the slot. That's just me personally. So I'm sure I'll get hateful messages after the show, and that's okay. So, I want to point out, though, somebody pointed out earlier with the pass rush, man, Parsons' 4th highest pass rush grade in the league. You see, he's just been elite his entire career.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's a 90.1 this year. Since he came in the league, 89, 91, 92, 90, 90.1. Obviously, his big statistics are the pressure percentage he's getting is just astronomical right now, right? He's drawing a lot of attention and everything. On the other side, PFF has Gary at a 68.2, even though he's leading the NFL in sacks, which is wild to think about. And again, 2 of those 4.5 sacks, pretty much half of his sacks came with Micah Parsons on the sideline. So spare me it's only because Micah's on the field. That's a bunch of BS. Gary's having a great year. PFF has not been a big fan of Gary his entire career. You guys can go back and pull a tweet. When they originally drafted him, they had the hot take on Twitter that said, basically, Chase Winovich is going to be a much better pro and be in the league longer than Rashawn Gary. If you guys don't remember, they were teammates at Michigan. Yeah. And for whatever reason, PFF has not liked Gary since he came in the league. They just couldn't deny it in 2021 where I think he had a 20% whatever it was, pressure rate or something crazy. It was right at 20%. So Gary off to a very fast start along with Micah Parsons. Also, Devontae Wyatt in the middle here was 71.5. 77.8 pass rush grade. I think we got our 3-tech. I feel very comfortable that we got our 3-tech. It doesn't mean you don't keep swinging in the draft and try to find another 3-tech. You never have too many 3-techs, just like you can never have too many edge defenders, right? But I'm feeling really good about where Wyatt's at. What's your all's take on that?
Excited one.
Yeah, I guess more than anything, I'm more surprised that his pressure rate is pretty impressive too, right? I mean, we've got a bunch of guys. I can't remember the exact schematic I sent you, Clayton, where it was one of those XY axis type things. And of course, in the far right corner was Myles Garrett, an absolute football field away from everyone. Then it was Micah Parsons, super far away from everyone. And then in that little grouping, there was LVN, there was Gary, and there was it was just for edge rushers. But if you look in the D tackle pressure rate and percentage and all that win rate, I think he's right up there, if not one of the best. And if he doesn't hurt that knee late in that game, who knows what could have happened with his stat line now too.
Right. And you don't see LVN on these graphics. I just switched to the base to see who it put in. Kobe Wooden, 72.1. He's the 28th best defensive tackle. That's your 1-tech, right? Nice. He and Carl Brooks are your 1-tech. Now, LVN isn't showing up because they don't have him listed as a starter here. LVN, guys, 74.2 PFF grade. He's the 34th highest graded edge defender in the league right now. So I just wanted to mention that. Emilio, what do you got to add to this? Now I'm going to turn it over to Tim. We're going to talk a little Quay Walker here in a second.
Love that. Yeah, our front men, we need to get some pressure on Dak this week. You're going to have to bring 4. You're going to want to kind of stay in coverage, make him make those passes sort of thing. You know, maybe bring some of that sim pressure that you did a lot last year, but you didn't need to rely on a lot at the beginning of this year, but sprinkle that back in. Excited about Wyatt. I think that he's really stepping up. And Wooden, man, I got to give some respect to my man. I'm sorry that we were doubting you because you've been killing it. I've seen him down there. He's not afraid to line up, head up over the center. You know, he's played that no tackle role. He gets in there and gets dirty. So appreciate him. Glad that it's worked out.
Talk about a guy who put in the off-season work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kobe Wooden, for sure. I mean, you just look at the grades and you can see the drastic change. I think it's a testament of his off-season program. And then he had a really good camp as well and has just kind of hit the ground running and continues to play really, really good football. And, you know, I think that's a pleasant surprise, right? I think caught a lot of us off guard. We were talking about him possibly being a bubble guy at one point. Right. And lo and behold, he's proven to be really reliable. And then, you know, I think that combined with the way, you know, Devontae Wyatt has stepped up is probably why Goody went ahead and greenlit the trade with Kenny going to Dallas, just because we had that confidence between, you know, Wooden, Brooks, and Wyatt there in the middle. So.
Definitely. Let's focus on backer here. I'm going to stay with you here, Tim. This is exciting stuff. As Ron Sample said, did you guys talk about Quay being one of only 2 linebackers with 25 chances to make a tackle to not have a missed tackle? So Quay's tackling ability this year is on point. And also when you look at the PFF grade, he's now the 21st highest graded backer in the league, higher than Edgerrin Cooper, a 70.4. And again, contract offers on the table. The way he's playing right now, according to PFF, maybe that's why he hasn't signed that thing yet. He's looking for Goody to sweeten that deal a little bit more. But what do you think about Quay, man? Off to a good start here.
I love it. I've been carrying the Quay Walker torch for 4 years now. And I'm proud of my boy, my Georgia Bulldog, man. I think you're right. It's a contract year, right? So it's an audition. And, hey, I think the Packers are content to let him continue to ball out. And I think Goody will get something done. It'll be something that will make sense for both parties. I think Quay's going to get a little bit of the bag, as the kids say. Give that man the bag. But I don't think it's gonna set us back or anything, or it maybe not be super long term, but it will keep Quay Walker here for the foreseeable future on a better contract. And he has proven to be steady Eddie, as Jacob would say. And really, we've gotten that from all of our backers, honestly, this year. I think Zay McDuffie's been playing damn good football this year for us, both as a special teamer and still out there grinding it away. Whether he's, the Will or the Sam, he's just proven to be a tackling machine, great in the run fits. And actually, honestly, his pass coverage at a 59.8 is actually an improvement, I believe, for him too. So that's a pleasant surprise. And then, but yeah, what can you say about Quay Walker though? A guy that's been through a lot of ups and downs. You talk about a guy who's been raked over the coals by the fan base. And Quay has kept his head down and continued to grind, coming back really nicely from that injury that kind of cheated him of a lot of reps during camp. And he's playing really good football for us right now.
So, Tim, are you trying to say
Pay that man his money?
I'm not trying. I've been saying that. I've been saying that. I kind of figured they wouldn't exercise the option on him, and that this is kind of how this would pan out. And I think, like I said, it'll be somewhere in the middle. He'll get his money, but nothing that anyone should freak out.
I wouldn't be surprised if we find out after the deal's done that Tim was actually Quay's agent the whole time. So, anything else you guys want to hit on defense here before we wrap this thing up, man? This has been fun. I want to give a shout out to Sixers. Says this is the best channel for Packers content, straight up PTA and Basarski. We appreciate the kind words there, but I'm a big Baz fan too, man. You guys, that's a great channel. If you haven't checked it out, I'm sure you have. If you found this channel, make sure you go check out Baz over at Basarski Productions for sure. So thank you for the kind words there, Sixers. Anybody got anything else on defense here? Anything at all? Is there anything we missed?
I mean, what would you be comfortable now as far as a contract for Quay? Chris the Casual and Inside says Quay gets 4 years, 56 mil. I don't know
Pay
necessarily.
that man his money.
I'll let y'all go around the horn with it.
What's your annual per? I mean, I guess I don't quite know what the going rate for
50 years, $550 million.
You guys go around the horn with it. I'm going to pull up Spot Track and see what they've got across the
I have no idea what Spot Track's going to say. I'd be happy with 4 at 50, probably 12 and some change per year. I mean, Quay deserves it. I think that he's gotten a lot of heat and not enough slack. And when he finally gets a good running mate, and you see how fast his defense can be, he's starting to take off. And again, I think you kind of get him back a little bit more to facing on the ball. He did play a couple slot snaps and stuff like that. Manned up and everything, but I like when we have a lot more eyes on the quarterback and in zone more than when we have to put him in man like that.
Well, it seems like he's just been playing complementary football because, like you said, now we finally have an amazing edge rotation, another guy that's just an absolute stud and Coop behind him. Obviously, we have a field general and X right behind him as well. So he maybe they took a little bit off his plate. And it seems like that everybody, if you look at these PFF grades, has kind of elevated their game this year. And maybe you can't pin it on one player. I know most people would probably say Parsons, obviously, because that's just kind of in vogue to do. But I think that they're just playing complementary football with each other's skill set. And it's just letting a lot of them run free.
Yeah. Here is the contract averages for stack backers across the league, okay? So, again, this doesn't mean it's their cap hit. It just takes – if you take the overall contract value divided by the years, this is what the numbers come out to, okay? So, which essentially you guys are saying, like you said, Emilio, maybe $10 million per, right? You'd be willing to pay that.
Yeah, I said 4 at 50, so it'd be like 12. It'd be up to 12 and a half-ish. I mean, dropping him around Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah and Azeez Al-Shaair, I'm good with that.
And for everybody on the pod, Fred Warner leads the way at $21 million per, Roquan Smith $20 million per, Tremaine Edmonds $18 million per, Zach Bond $17, Nick Bolton $15, Jamian Sherwood $15, Patrick Queen $13.6, Jeremiah
Owusu-Koramoah.
Oh man,
Emilio's just on it.
Azeez Al-Shaair 11.3, and then rounding out the top 10 is Dump Truck Spillane, Robert Spillane at $11 million. So you would basically be saying, all right, we're willing to pay Quay as the 7th or 8th highest paid stack backer in the league. That seems a little rich for me, but Again, it doesn't matter what we think he's worth. The market determines what a player's worth. You either want the player or you don't. Now, you guys know my rule of thumb. You're willing to overpay for great. You're not willing to overpay for good, right? Do we think Quay's great or is he good? Right now, how he's playing, he's on the verge, in my opinion, of breaking into great, but he's still not there yet. So that's what makes this so tricky, right? If Goody somehow, some way, Goody and Russ Ball get him for 8 or 9 million per, I'm all about it. When you get north of 10 million, I start getting a little bit, I don't know. I just don't know, because you've also got Tyron Hopper, who can't see the field because of these guys, and he was a 3rd-round pick. Now, will he play better than Quay? Not with the way Quay's playing this year, I don't believe. But you guys remember that was another player we were buzzing about coming out of camp, was Tyron Hopper. So,
Tyron Hopper ran into the Zay McDuffie factor. I think the fact that Zay McDuffie has just been playing so good, it's what's kind of costing Tyron Hopper some snaps. You know,
it's a great point. Great point, man.
Clayton, you're the cap expert here for sure. Do you think there's a way that they could incentivize Quay to seemingly take, I don't want to say a team-friendly deal, but maybe a deal that gets him a lot more money up front in those first couple of years, and then they kind of structure it in a way where, as we always say, if it's a 4-year contract, it's a 3. If it's a 3, it's a 2. And then, like we said, we've got guys, pardon the pun, but we got Hopper in the hopper. We got Cooper that's obviously going to be a staple here. Guys like Isaiah that are showing up to play that, maybe that we don't quite feel the need to have to pay him such a longer and maybe like a substantial, because like to your point, I mean, you look at that list of guys there, I'm more comfortable in the 8 to 10 mil per area. But if Quay thinks, I feel like I'm a top 10, top 5, whatever type guy that he wants to get paid, like, how do you kind of remedy that?
Mm-hmm. Let's take a look. I'm trying to find a good comp here. Let's go with Patrick Queen, the 13.6 contract average, right? And I'll try to answer your question this way. So he got the most recent contract here. Let's see, it's 20 through 23. His most recent contract was a 3-year extension, right? And this may get a little bit difficult for y'all to read, but I need to see these numbers on the opposite side here. So when you look at how his contract is structured here, you're looking at a cap hit, $6.1 million his first year, okay? 17.6 the second year, 17.1 the third year. Obviously, they're in year 2. The cap hit is 17.6 million. So when you look at the guaranteed money he signed, he got a 3-year, $41 million deal, okay? Let's say we're willing to give Quay, we want to get that closer to a $30 million deal, right? The signing bonus they gave him, being Patrick Queen, was $11.5 million. So what you could do to lower that overall value number is give more guaranteed money, cash over cap. They're more inclined to sign a deal that gets more guaranteed money as opposed to just overall contract value. Therefore, you can lower the cap hit a touch, but you're paying a higher check out, and you're on the hook for a bigger cap penalty if you decide to cut bait, right? So for me, if you were to structure it this way, let's say we're going to go, like Emilio said, let's say it's 4 years, 12 million per, right? You might be able to get that down to 10 million per if you take the guaranteed money. In this case, guaranteed at signing for Patrick Queen was 13.8. And again, we're kind of going back a year or two, so the numbers aren't going to line up perfectly. Just theoretically speaking, maybe you'd be willing to give Quay 20 million at guaranteed, right, and off say another 4 or 5 million off the overall contract. That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. I think the floor for Quay is 12 million a year. I don't think he's going to take it to 10 million a year.
And I think I agree with you, Tim. And that's where I'm kind of like, ugh. I don't know if I'd be willing to do it. You're getting in that.
But maybe it's how close can we get to that number,
right.
And maybe there is, wiggle room, or like, Jacob suggested, maybe it's a big fat paycheck right away. Nothing smooths over a negotiation like a bunch of money up front, however you can get it done. But I think Quay probably believes he's worth at least 12 million a year. Patrick Queen's getting 13.6,
I like what Deadfish says here, Tim. This is a good gauge of where the Packers are at. The Packers declined the option for the 2026 season, which would have cost $14.7 million. Keep in mind it's fully guaranteed, but if you're talking simple cap allocation, that's a good measuring stick of they don't think he's worth $14.7 million per, right?
Right. So the question is he worth 12? Do they think he's worth 12?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And if they do, does Quay think, no, I need to be closer to Fred Warner, Roquan Smith, or Tremaine Edmonds, right? If he thinks he should get $15 million per on average over, we're talking about a reversed conversation here. What we were just saying, Emilio, with more guaranteed money to lower the cap hit, or Jacob asked that, I believe it was. You could go the opposite direction and go, yeah, we'll give you more average annual value, but less guaranteed. Therefore, that 4-year deal that was typically a true 3-year deal might be a 4-year deal that's really a 2-year deal, or even a 1-year deal. Very, very much so like the Aaron Banks contract that we gave him. Everybody said, whoa, $77 million. When you look at the true structure of the contract, you can get out of it after 1 year, essentially. So,
yeah.
J. Cole says he says, I think they're at 12. I don't know who they are, Jay, if you're saying the Packers are at 12 or them both in general are closing in on 12. If that's the number they end at, that's a lot more tolerable for me than the 15 million. But again, I understand what Tim's saying. I don't think Quay's going to take less than 10 million per.
So. I don't either. I think the further north of 10 million you are, the more likely he is to sign, I think.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And you finally get to see what having double speed is like in there, at Stack. And the fact that you rely on Quay so much, he stays in every single play of the game unless he's hurt. He's in that game. Green dot, all that. Yeah.
We're leaving that out, right? We conveniently glossed over the fact that this is your signal caller on the defense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and J. Cole said he was talking about the Packers are at 12 million. I think that's a very, very fair deal for Quay personally. Now, it's not to say he doesn't. If he thinks he deserves more, who am I to say, he shouldn't feel like that? It's silly, right? Go get all the money you can, big fella, But that 12 is, if the Packers are offering 12 million per, and let's say it's 15 million fully guaranteed at signing, I can tolerate that. I'm good with that. Now, if Quay's saying, no, give me the 12 million per and 20 million at signing, we're probably got a problem there, right? So, nonetheless. Go ahead, man.
Sorry. What do you think about Nick McSwain's comment here saying, 8 months ago, we were talking about him not being on the team. I'd like to see more before committing a ton of money.
It's a very good point, Nick. We're 3 weeks into the season, right? And when you say we were talking about that, I think I was talking about that. I don't want to put words in anybody else's mouth. I don't think Tim was feeling like it. Tim is since day one.
That wasn't Tim.
Yeah, Tim feels like, Quay's, one of the better backers in the league. And, I'm not saying I'm right and he's wrong. And I'm sure he's not saying he's right and I'm wrong, but it's like if we were negotiating this, Tim, you're thinking probably 15 million per. Am I wrong there? Or do you think maybe a little less?
I think less. I think Quay would like to be at or higher than 12 to and there's lots of ways to get there, right? That can be 10 million salary plus incentives, whatever, signing bonus. Yep. There's ways to do that. I think where most of the fans' concern is we've got guys like Kraft and Reed, and there's other players that need to get their money too. And you worry about what does that mean if you like you said, if you overpay in certain areas, what does that do to the rest of your roster? That being said, though, Quay doesn't strike me as a guy that wants anything more than just what he feels that he's worth. I don't see him being overly greedy during these negotiations. I think if it's something in the wheelhouse, there's a chance they get a deal done. And maybe that does mean a 4-year deal that's really a 3-year deal, or whatever it has to be to make sense for us going down the road. But I do feel like we don't have an immediate answer. If Quay Walker's if he's not a Packer next year, then what, you're just going to slap the green dot on Tyron Hopper, obviously
I think it'd be Edger and Cooper.
Yeah,
I think that would definitely be cool.
Could be Zay McDuffie. We know if Quay wasn't playing now, it'd probably be McDuffie would probably have the green dot. And then you couple that in with the fact of possibility of Coach Half getting a promotion somewhere, and
don't say that. You don't say that.
There's lots of things that we have to kind of let unfold here, but I don't think it's. I think it's a little naive to just be like, well, let him walk, whatever. It's like I don't know. I don't feel that good about what's coming up behind him. So I think, it would help us if the Packers are willing to negotiate, which clearly they are. The talks are ongoing, and Quay's just doing what Quay does. He's going out and playing football, and that's what you want from your guys. So
yeah,
I don't think we just let him go.
He's definitely handled it the right way. And you and I, we 100% we disagree on this. We're pretty far apart on how we feel about Quay, and that's totally cool. But Quay has handled it the right way. He's keeping his mouth shut, letting the agent handle it. He's just going out there and trying to play ball. Now, when you look at his passer rating when targeted, that's why I have a hard time paying him like a top 10 backer. It's pretty rough. I want to say going into last week, it was 140 was his passer rating when targeted. Now, again, is there some maneuverability there? Like, hey, if you go and actually watch every individual snap, it's not as bad as that number looks. You'll probably find that if you dove into the tape, that it's not as bad as that 140 sounds, but he's definitely not up there in that upper echelon of like top five backers and things like that. And I was just going to say the argument I was going to make. Well, first of all, somebody mentioned he's a captain too, guys. The coach has appointed him a captain. That lends a lot of credence to Tim's side of the argument for sure.
Yeah.
But I was going to say your defense is very, very strong. If there's a place that you could absorb a loss of letting a guy walk, freeing up that cap space or not tying that cap space up, and you're modeling your roster, I'd be okay with just paying one stack backer. And in this case, you're saving money if Quay does walk, and then you end up signing Edgerrin Cooper to a long-term deal. But as you guys pointed out, and Jacob's going to say it again, you don't say that. If Hafley isn't here and the defense takes a step back, and now you don't have Quay, you don't have Hafley, that's a scary place to be, So it's a good conversation, though. I'm glad
you could even make it a 4-year deal out in 2, and you'd be ready to pay Coop in 2, kind of thing. I mean, you can make that sort of wiggle like that too, not a problem.
That's the beautiful thing about the contract structures. Sorry, Jacob, but when you look at how they're structured positionally, you can see where they're looking to bridge. Okay, we can get out of this one in 2 years, step right into this one in 2 years, and we're off and running. Yeah, go ahead, Jacob. Sorry, man.
Yeah, no, you're good. I like what Coach Lynn says in a 2 back-to-back comments here. He says, watch Russ Ball cook. So just that. And he brings up another thing. Like you said, you might have to pay other guys. Well, what if Jenkins, they decide to part ways from him? And all of a sudden that frees up a little cap space. And then to Emilio's point, you can still wiggle some stuff around. So you pay Quay and you get Coop. And who knows, man? I mean, that guy, every time we think that it can't be done, we turn around, the headlight comes out, we read between the crosstabs, and you're like, holy, that son of a, you did it again.
Yeah. It can always be done, man. It's just, like I said, the cap is not fake. I'm not one of those guys. Okay. The cap is not fake, but it is very, very, very time sensitive, meaning you just have to know what the modeling is moving forward. How are you going to model your roster out? How are you going to project your roster out and be prepared if plan A falls through, plan B's in place, and you're 2-3 years ahead, knowing exactly how the cap's going to fall into place? That's the main thing. Some of these teams, they kick it out, and then you look up, and for 3 or 4 years, they're in absolute cap hell. They always get under on the cap, but they're not fielding the team that they originally had planned to field because they got behind the 8 ball, and that it's very, 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 very date sensitive is the best way to describe it. So, yeah, it's a good conversation, though. I'm glad we brought it up. Thank y'all for that. So, anything else, boys? Let's get out of here. Let's wrap this thing up, man. Anything else y'all want to hit on before we go?
Happy birthday, Emilio.
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate it, man.
That's about it.
I'm good. No,
that was
I'm
very,
good.
very seductive way to say happy birthday.
Yeah,
I'm going to sing him the real happy birthday song.
Come to your birthday party?
I like to think that the light at the bottom of that, put that back up there, Tim. It almost looks like candles on a birthday cake. Like they're celebrating around the birthday cake. I can't wait to the day that somebody shows Travis Glover this. I'm like, what the hell are they doing?
What is he going to say? I think he's going to want, he's going to have like a little, I don't know, maybe a.
He's going to get a restraining order against you.
Yeah, I could think that, yeah. But hey, it's just all in support and love for the man. I think he's got it, man.
I think his reaction would be.
What was Brett Favre doing here?
No, it ain't. No, that's the wrong one. This one.
There we go.
All in love there, Travis. Not that kind of love either, Bub. You know what I mean?
Sure.
No Diddy. I'm just saying. Emilio was a big fan. That's all that picture means. And we created it. He did not. It'd be different if that was his Facebook profile picture. I mean, it's a totally different ballgame. So, all right, guys, we're out of here. We'll be back tomorrow, PTA live at 6:30 p.m. See Jacob popping out of the cake. I just imagine Chris Farley from Saturday Night Live. Remember he was a Chippendale dancer.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be back tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. Central for PTA Live. We're going to do the game plan, and I'm going to continue to add to it over the next 24 hours. It's just going to be a very, very in-depth breakdown of how this matchup. We showed you the PFF matchup. Now we're going to go through and talk about specifics, how you want to attack this defense, some of the strengths, weaknesses, maybe some things that we might be overlooking. But guys, appreciate y'all hanging out with us, man. This was a lot of fun for sure. Shout out to Bates for the super chat. John Baker becoming a member here on YouTube as well. Appreciate y'all more than you know. We'll see you tomorrow, PTA Live, 6:30 p.m. Central. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Talk to you soon.
Here we go. We're out.
Bye, guys.